Hello, everyone. Very good evening. We'll just wait for a couple of more minutes for others to dial in, and we'll get started, guys. We'll just wait for 1 to 2 minutes. We'll wait for just 1 more minute. Okay, let's get started, guys. Let other folks dial in as and when they want to. Uh, First of all, a warm welcome to Data Science Training by Geeks. It's a first session for your batch today. I'll start with my introduction. This is Satya. I have almost 20 plus years of experience in data science. And I worked for top consulting firms like Deloitte and Accenture in the past. And I did almost 12 to 15 complex end-to-end data science implementation projects for top MNCs. I also have very good experience uh, as a data science trainer. I did almost 120 plus batches, including corporate trainings. And I'll be the instructor for your batch. And this is what I have on agenda for today, guys. And before I go ahead and talk about the agenda, let me just make a couple of announcements, guys. When you join the training session, you will be muted by default. That doesn't mean that you cannot speak up during the session. At any point in time when I'm explaining something, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, ask the question, and then go back on mute. And also please note that since it's going to be a long session, I would also be taking a pauses after every 10-15 minutes. And I'll ask you if you have any questions. And after that, I'll proceed further. Okay. And I would also be, uh, feel free to interact. That's all I wanted to say. And if you feel that I'm going too fast or too slow, do let me know. I'm open to adjust my pace as well. Okay. So this is what I have an agenda for today. I'll give you a brief introduction to data science. I want all of you to understand what exactly data science is all about. And we would also, and once we understand what is a data science, we would look at few applications of data science that are available in the industry today. And we will also cover, or we'll try to understand how data science has evolved in the last 5 to 6 decades, especially in the last 1 to 2 decades. What are the major major things that have happened in the data science industry. We'll cover that. And in the second half of the session, it gets interesting. I want all of you to understand what exactly does a data scientist do on a daily basis. See, as a data scientist, see, all of you would become a data scientist by the time you finish the course. And when you start working in real time, you might probably want to understand what exactly do I do on a daily basis. So I'll be covering exactly that thing in this particular point. And once you understand what exactly does a data scientist do, we will focus on what skills would be required for you to play that role of a data scientist effectively, what technical skills you need and what non-technical skills you need. And I would also give you a very high level overview of the course content, letting you know what exactly we cover as part of the course. And I'll wrap up the session letting you know a few stats that would understand why data science is a high demand career path that you can choose today. Okay. Now, did anyone wonder how does a face unlock on a phone works? See, everyone use a phone, right? So could be an Android or an iPhone. The moment you look at a phone, it scans your face and it gets unlocked. Did anyone wonder how it works in the background? And most of you use Netflix as well, right? To watch the movies. I do as well. And the moment you open a Netflix, you would see a recommendations coming in from Netflix. It might say, "Hey Satya, these are the movies that you might want to watch next." But how does Netflix know what are the movies that I might like to watch? And there are plenty of companies delivering personalized ads to the customers at the moment, right? So all of us do see this on a daily basis, right? So you might get ads from finance companies, or you might get ad from retail stores saying that since it's birthday, we're giving you a special offer of 25% off. So how are clients or companies are delivering the personalized ads to the customers? So the simple answer is data science. So if you talk about the textbook definition of data science, it is a science and art of analyzing the raw data and transforming it into meaningful information to solve the problems. And if you need a one-liner definition, data science is all about extracting a meaningful information from data. Okay, it's all about extracting a meaningful information from data. Now, data science is an interdisciplinary branch, and it uses concepts from computer science, mathematics, and statistics. It is an interdisciplinary branch. It uses concepts from computer science, mathematics, and statistics. And the moment I show this slide, people start getting scared. They ask me, "Prasad, I'm not a great mathematician, or I'm not really good at statistics, nor am I good at programming. Can I still go ahead and learn a data science course?" Please don't really worry too much about it, guys. So when I say data science is an interdisciplinary branch and it uses concepts from these three branches, it doesn't mean that you have to open up your 10th, 11th, and 12th statistics and practice it. You have a lot of libraries readily available in languages like Python, which would help you do most of the mathematical or statistical analysis that you need to do. Okay. Now, what has been, you might have probably started hearing about data science in the last 5 to 10 years, right? So there's no such craze prior to that. Why has there been such a great demand for data scientists, especially in the last 5 years? Well, if you understand it, if you deep dive, you notice that there is a data boom that happened in the last 10 years, right? So all of us use social media. So we share a lot of images, videos, reviews, and all the data that we exchange over social media, it runs into petabytes of data. And we do have a lot of sensors, and they're used to monitor temperature, pressure, etc. And those sensors also generate data every minute. And if you take the business data, gone are those old days where companies used to manage or maintain paper based documents. Today, all the documents that companies use are stored electronically. Okay, so whether it is sales data, marketing data, employee information, everything is stored electronically. So in the last 10 years, so you wouldn't believe if I say that the 90% of the data that exists today has been generated in the last 10 years. So we have a lot of data now, and what does it mean? It means that we need a place to store all this data that is generated, and we need to analyze them. So where do we do it? That is exactly where we or companies make use of servers, laptops, or computers, or even mobile devices. They are used to store the data. They're used to store the data and do the required analysis and derive insights out of that data. And thanks to the technology advancements that are happening of late, these devices, whether it is server, laptop, or phones, they are becoming more powerful and they're also becoming cheaper as well. What does it mean? It means that not only are large scale companies, even a small size companies or mid size companies are able to afford them, store the data in those devices, and use that data for doing a data analysis. And that is precisely why, in the last 5 years, use cases for data science, meaning use cases for analyzing the data and coming up with the insights, has gained momentum. And that's why you see that great demand for a data scientist today. Okay. Now, if we talk about the applications of data science, two things that all of us know are social media and e-commerce. Remember, guys, data science has contributed significantly to many industries, and and it basically transformed the way most of the industries work today. But two industries that have integrated data science very well into their business processes are social media and e-commerce. Are social media and e-commerce. Now, all of us use social media platforms, right? So we use Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So let's say you go to Instagram, let's say you watch a video about iPhone 16 launch. Okay, you watch a couple of videos, close the application, open it in the evening, and if you go to the news feed, you see that at least 5 out of 10 ads, not just ads, at least 5 out of 10 videos that you see in the feed are related to iPhone 16. How is it? How are those social media platforms able to understand the user behavior, come up with personalized recommendations? It's all because of data science that they are using in the background. And companies are also doing targeted advertising. So if we go back to the same example, you might probably see a couple of companies trying to sell iPhones. You might see their ads as well, right? So yes, social media platforms are leveraging data science very heavily to do the targeted advertising, understand the user behavior, and deliver personalized recommendations. And another category of applications that have incorporated data science very well into their business process are e-commerce applications. So all of us shop on Amazon and Myntra, right? So when you go and shop there, you obviously see the recommendations. It says, Prasad, this is what you're trying to buy, and here are the other recommendations that we have. And it gives you an enhanced customer experience. And it also, e-commerce applications are using data science to predict the sales as well for the next month or for the next quarter. And I'm not sure how many of you heard of this term, generative AI tools. One thing that has revolutionized the data science industry in the last 2 years, since 2022, is the invention of generative AI tools. As you can make out from the name itself, generative AI tools, these tools would help you to generate content that you need. And there are three popular tools. ChatGPT is from OpenAI. You have Bard from Google, and you have Bing from Microsoft. Just three different tools, and they are a generative AI tools. And how do they work? Let's do a quick check and try to understand how it works. I go to open up ChatGPT. So this is one of the generative AI tool that we have. And you can ask it to do anything you want. You can ask it to create an image. You can ask it to write a resume for you. You can ask it to write a Python code. Any question that you have, you can ask it and it would respond back. And it would generate a content which is highly curated as well. Of course, you see a disclaimer that it can make mistakes, but you can rely on it. So, for example, if I say, write a Python program to add two numbers, you would immediately see a ChatGPT generating a code for it. Okay. And in a similar fashion, not just a code, I can ask it to do anything I want. So, for example, I can go back and say, uh, give me a strategy to promote online retail store. So any question you ask, it is able to pull out all the resources that it has access to, and it's going to come back with a comprehensive response. So this chat GPT or generative AI, it keeps generating it. Of course, if you ask complicated questions, it might take a bit of time to generate it. But this, the invention of chat GPT, the generative AI tools has transformed the way content creation works today. And you might also probably have heard of some programmers losing their jobs because of ChatGPT. Because you see, when I asked it to write a Python program, it is able to do it in less than 10 seconds. Okay, so yes, it is the generative AI tools have revolutionized the way data science works today. Okay, and of course, we would be covering this as one of the module as part of the course. Looks like it's going on and on. But I can stop it, and you can also ask it to generate an image as well if you want. Say generate an image of a data scientist, and it would also be able to generate images as well. So the point I'm trying to make here is generative AI tools have revolutionized the way content creation works today. Okay, so you don't need document writers, or you don't need to follow the traditional approaches any further. And if we go back, yes, so we would. This is one of the most exciting application that happened. Give me one moment. Let me adjust the display. Yeah, and let's spend some time to understand how data science has evolved in the last 5 to 6 decades. Sometimes I often get a question from students, Satya, you're claiming that you have worked in data science for 20 years. Has data science been there for 20 years, first of all? So, but to keep it simple, data science, it has started way back in 1962. It has been there for 7 decades now. It's just that you might have heard about it in the last 5 years. It doesn't mean that data science didn't exist before that. So I'll spend just roughly 10 minutes talk about high level points that you need to know about how data science has evolved. To start off with, in 1962, there's a person named John Tukey. He first came up with an idea to use computer systems as opposed to human brain for doing statistical analysis. And this laid the foundation stone for data science. So his point was use computer systems instead of human brain to do the statistical analysis. And what are the obvious advantages you get with it, guys? If you use computer system, you get better speed, and you get better viability, and you have a better precision. So, for example, if you sit down and start analyzing or doing some statistical analysis, let's say it's morning first hour, you have 10 Excel sheets to analyze, you are fresh, and you have better speed, you have more precision. There is a chance that you get right. But what if it's 8 p.m. in the evening and you're about to leave office and you need to analyze maybe a 30th Excel sheet? Probably there is a chance that the speed would go down tremendously, precision would go down, and it is also not a viable solution as well. So if it's Excel sheet, you can probably analyze it. What if I ask you to analyze gigabytes of data or terabytes of data? So that's exactly where this concept has come in, using computer systems instead of human brain to do that analysis. And this option gives you these advantages. And Peter Nair first coined the term data science in his book in 1974, a book named Consent Survey of Computer Methods. In 1980s, between 80 and 90, data mining has started, which has resulted in large data sets getting created. And there was a requirement to do some reliable statistical analysis on that data to identify the patterns, etc. And this data mining is done across industries, resulting in a lot of data generation. And of course, all of you might have heard about the big data, what data explosion that has happened around 2000 or 1990s, right? So all of you might have heard about big data, Hadoop, and all that. So yes, because of this data mining, you have extremely large sets of complex and disconnected data that got generated. And there was a need to have professionals who can extract data using the statistical and mathematical techniques and also do some analysis. And that's where you started seeing job titles. And this happened roughly 20 years back. And the word data scientist is coined in 2008 by a couple of people, DJ Patel and Jeff Hammerbacher. And they refer to data scientist as someone who uses statistics, ML, and other tools to extract insights. And in 2012, Harvard Business Review, so one of the leading universities in the world, they've coined a data scientist as the best job that you can do in the century because of the potential that it offers. And it still holds good. And in the last 7 to 8 years, or around 2014 to 16, two important applications of a deep learning came into picture called NLP and computer vision. Okay, so until then, it was all the statistical machine learning models that we were using. Statistical ML models, I'll talk about them in detail tomorrow. They normally work really well on a simple data. But if you have to deal with images or videos, or if you have to deal with text-based data, then you need a different approach for it. And that's exactly where a natural language processing NLP or a computer vision came into picture. So these are two important applications of deep learning. And some of the usages of NLP, it stands for natural language processing. All of us have these virtual assistants at home, right? You might probably have Alexa at home, and the moment you reach home, you might ask it to play some cool music. How is it able to process the natural language and respond to your questions? That's because NLP is used within it. And NLP is also used to do sentiment analysis. Probably I launched a product 6 months back and I've got, let's say, 5,000 reviews. And I want to understand how many of them are positive and how many are negative. I cannot sit down and go through those reviews one by one, right? And that's exactly where I would deploy an NLP technique that would tell me how many of them are positive and how many were negative. And auto completion in emails that you might have noticed. So you try to write an email and you say, I hope you. Outlook is going to say, Prasad, RWell is something that you might want to add next. How does it know that RWell would come along with I hope you? Again, it internally uses NLP to achieve it. Okay, so the auto completion that you see on the emails. Nowadays, this auto completion it's used all across. And computer vision, you see self-driving cars from Tesla. And when you make a payment from some banking applications, instead of you typing in that 16-digit number, you nowadays see an option in every application wherein it says scan a card. And the moment you scan it, it would automatically populate the number. Okay. And so yes, computer vision, it has helped. And even the first slide that we have seen, how is your phone getting unlocked when you look at it? It's again because of computer vision. So it is with the help of computer vision, we can we can deal with text or video. So we can deal with image and videos as such. And in 2022, we had the generative AI evolution, which I just discussed. And this is in short the evolution of data science. Now that we know how data science has evolved, let's come to the most interesting part. So all of you would become data scientists at the end of the course in roughly 6 months' time, right? Now, what exactly would a data scientist do? on a daily basis. Let me help you understand it first. We'll understand the day-to-day tasks first, and then we'll understand what are the skills required to do those tasks. Now, let's assume that we are Alex, who are an experienced data scientist, and let's say we are working for a company called Plantopedia. Assume that it is a fictional company which delivers plans to the doorsteps of the customers. Okay, and what does he do? He logs in at 9 o'clock, and usual stuff. We check our emails, responds to it, and if there are some pending queries, he would respond as well. And what do you do as a next step? As a data scientist, we would be spending a lot of time analyzing our dashboards, looking at the reports to understand if there are any hidden patterns or trends among the data. So whatever you're seeing on screen, this is basically a dashboard created using tools like Power BI. Okay, so we spend some time analyzing or looking at those dashboards, see if there's anything for us to worry about, or if there is any underlying patterns that you can identify. And when you start off your career as a data scientist, initially you might probably work in only one project. But as you grow in experience, you will be included in multiple projects, and those projects could be in different stages. Okay, one could be in research phase, another would have already been deployed, a third one might be ready for deployment. So depending on what projects you're part of, your roles and responsibilities might also change. So at 11 o'clock, what is it that you might probably be doing? You might be asked to build a machine learning model to predict what would be the next month's sales for some of the items that Plantopedia sells. We get this question from another team, probably a marketing team or procurement team, and they want you to write a machine learning model to predict what is going to be the next month's sale for these products. So what exactly would you do? You would, again, when you build a machine learning model, there are different approaches that you could follow, or different models available, like supervised, unsupervised, etc. Depending on the kind of problem you need to deal with, you choose an appropriate algorithm, appropriate model, and you go ahead and build it. And you would train that model on the past data, and then you deploy it, use it to predict the next month's sales. Now, what are the kind of models, machine learning models that you can build, and how do we usually do it? We'll understand it in detail in tomorrow's session. Okay, but you will be building machine learning models, and you would be sharing those predictions with the relevant teams. It could be marketing team, it could be procurement, or it could be any other team. And at 12 o'clock, assume that you've got an alert on your screen saying that there is a downward projection of sales because a raw material is going down for a particular product. So as soon as you see alerts like this, you would immediately call different teams for a meeting, work with them together, and that team's, you would have a procurement consultant in it, you would have an inventory specialist to check what is the raw material that they have today. You might have a procurement consultant ready with the data, that if there is any supplier readily available to provide the data. So you basically, as soon as you get a problem, you talk to the relevant teams and tell them what is exactly they have to do to resolve them or to minimize the impact that we have. And at 2 o'clock, you might probably have a lunch. And at 3 o'clock, you might be working on a ChatGPT powered chatbot. So if I'm a customer of Plantopedia, I go into their website and let's say I'm trying to buy some products, maybe a few plants and some other raw materials as well. And I also have some questions regarding cultivation. Say, for example, I want to understand what kind of soil suits the rose seeds. And I don't want to call up someone and ask this question. It would probably help if you can give me a sort of a chat option there, wherein I can put in a question. And the moment I put in a question, I should see a response like this, a consolidated response. How would that be possible? In fact, this is one such chatbot that we're going to build in the generative AI module. Like internally, you would be making a call to the ChatGPT APIs. Whatever question that you get from the customer, you pass it as input to the ChatGPT. ChatGPT is going to power your chatbot, and your chatbot is going to, whatever response you get from ChatGPT, you display it back to the customer on the screen. So try to understand the kind of experience that you give to the customers. Like I ask a question, I immediately get a response. So, but it would help you to retain customers. So you might probably be working on Gen AI related stuff, like building some chatbots and deploying them. And if there's one team that you work very closely with, it's data engineering team. What's the difference between data scientist and data engineer, guys? Data engineers, their main job is to collect the data from various sources. So, for example, any client you take, uh, they would have a website, they might have a mobile app, and they also get the data from various other sources. And the data would be sitting in different databases for different applications. So somebody has to pull all the data from all those sources, which is in different formats again, and pull it to one central location. And who is going to do that? It's a data engineering team which is going to do that heavy data lifting for you. We're not going to do it. We would work very closely with the team. We tell them what data they have to pull based on what criteria in what format, and they would also be doing most of the ETL related tasks as well. Okay, and at 5 p.m. probably you get into a quick meeting with different teams, whether it is finance, marketing, or PD, and you would also I mean, you might probably discuss what are the next projects that you might want to focus on and so on, so forth. And at 6 o'clock, you probably leave office. Now that we know what exactly data scientist does on a daily basis, let's talk about what are the skills that we need to become a good data scientist. And we can broadly categorize those skills into two sections, technical and non-technical. And what are the technical skills that we need to become a data scientist? You should be good in database querying. Remember, you have a data engineering team to help you pull the data from various sources. But if a situation arises, you should also be in a position to write queries and pull the data yourself. And we should have a good knowledge in at least one programming language. And Python is what we will be covering. And that is exactly what we will be using all through the modules. And we also need to have a fair bit of understanding of statistics. We need to have good knowledge of at least one data visualization tool. Because remember, this was the first thing that we were looking at, right? The dashboards. So those were created with data visualization tools. And of course, the core job, you need to have ability to build machine learning models. And after you build the models, of course, you need a platform to deploy them. Where do you do it? You would use any of the cloud computing platforms like Amazon, AWS, or Azure, and you deploy them. And don't worry about looking at 6 modules here, all different modules. We would be covering each of these modules in depth, starting from basics. Okay, so don't think that we need to learn something before we join the course. These are the technical skills that you need. We would be covering them in depth, and not just this, we will be covering a lot of other skills as well. And I have slides for each one of them. Database querying, it basically helps you. I mean, you basically need a SQL knowledge to extract and manipulate data using SQL queries. Data engineers would be there to assist you, but sometimes you might have to write the queries yourself. We also need to have a good programming skills in at least one language, because that programming skill, and we would be using Python for it. There are other alternatives available like R, Java, etc. But we choose Python because Python would help you to do everything that you need to do as a data scientist. Be it writing a code, building models, or be it visualizing data, everything is possible in Python. And it has a lot of community support as well. And it has a very, very easy syntax. There are a number of reasons for choosing Python. And yes, this is exactly what we'll be covering in depth as part of the course. And we also need to have good statistical knowledge as well. And when I say you need to have a good statistical knowledge, you need that knowledge only to look at the results generated by the models that you build. But do you need to do that statistical analysis, writing those formulas manually in the code? Absolutely not required. In Python, you have plenty of helpful data science libraries like NumPy, Pandas, SciPy, etc. We don't need to we don't need to write any statistics related formulas or code base. It's just that we will be calling them in our Python code. Okay. And we also need to have a good knowledge of at least one visualization tool. And there are a few alternatives available like Tableau, Power BI, etc. We would be using Power BI as part of the course because it is leading in the market today and it's been leading for the last 3 years. So data scientists would need visualization to extract and communicate the insights because after you build the reports and dashboards, it would be quite easy for you to share them with other teams as well. So yes, there are few tools that are available. We'll be using Power BI as a key tool. And we also need, the key capability that you need is machine learning. You should have a good knowledge to build and evaluate predictive models. Now, what exactly machine learning is? What models can you build? What are the categories available? We'll focus on it in tomorrow's session. And we do have Python libraries like scikit, TensorFlow, PyTorch, etc. So these are all the libraries that we normally use to build a machine learning model. Now, the moment I say build a machine learning model, some students get scared. They think that, okay, building a model, I'm not really sure how complicated that is. And I don't know whether I'll be really able to do it or not. But when I say building a machine learning model, remember guys, you're not going to write 1,000-line code to plugging in a stats or maths into it. It's just a matter of calling the relevant libraries, and there is a specific sequence of steps that you have to perform. It's just that we would be leveraging the libraries to build a model, not we writing down thousands of lines of code. So don't worry really too much about it. And after we build the models, of course, a basic knowledge of cloud computing is required. And of course, we would be picking up AWS as an example, and we would see how to deploy our machine learning models into one of the cloud product. And cloud computing, it has enabled us to deploy our machine learning models quite easily because some of the models that we might build, especially when it comes to deep learning, you might need machines which are really powerful. Not just a 8 GB RAM is sufficient for it. So that's exactly where cloud computing helps data scientists. And coming to the non-technical skills, yes, you need to have good communication skills. You should be a good problem solver. You should also have a zeal to learn, work well with other team members, and you should have a business acumen. Well, the good thing is, apart from technical skills, we do conduct a special training sessions to improve your non-technical skills as well, if required. Okay. And the key question, Prasad, tell me a couple of reasons why I should learn data science today. Now, as per World Economic Forum, hope all of you must have heard about it. It's a leading economic body, and it is predicting that roughly 12 million jobs will be there in data science in the next couple of years. NASSCOM, we are a NASSCOM registered partner. It's an Indian government's top skilling authority, and it predicts that 75 to 80% of the job openings that you get in data science would fall in the experience band of 0 to 5 years. Okay, meaning there would be a lot of jobs. And another important point is most of those jobs are applicable for people with an experience band of 0 to 5 years. And the next key question that everybody is waiting to ask is, Prasad, what's the salary that I can expect? Yes, a data scientist salary ranges from 4 to 52. Of course, it depends on a number of factors, like in what company you are attending interview in, how well you do in the interview, how good your negotiation skills are. But this is a broad salary range. Now, if there is a time to learn data science, it is now. That is booming in the market today, and this is the right time. And what exactly, where do you have to choose Geeks? Because we cover 15 data science modules as part of the course over the period of next 3 to 4 months. And we're not going to directly start off with building machine learning models because for you to build a machine learning models, you need to have a foundational skills. You should be good in Python. So we'll start off with Python basics to start off with, understand how we can leverage Python libraries for data science. And after that, we would be covering a SQL module to help you understand how to write SQL queries and pull the data from various sources. And whatever data that you pull from various sources, we cannot directly feed them into the machine learning models, guys. Obviously, if there are some null values or if there are some outliers, the machine learning models will error out. So whatever data that you pull using a SQL should be passed as input, or that data has to be explored. And that is exactly where you need to have a good EDA skills. EDA stands for exploratory data analysis, meaning whatever data that you pull from sources, you would be analyzing that in detail. You see if there are any missing values, if there are any outliers, you do that EDA. And you also do a statistical analysis. And once you have the data cleaned, all set, then you would be feeding that as input to the models that you build. And of course, before we build the models, when you do the EDA, when you do the data analysis, at that time also, you would need a data visualization tool. And that's exactly where we use a Power BI. So for example, if I give you an Excel sheet, let's say you have 10,000 rows in it, and let's say you have salaries in it. And the salary ranges are from, say, 10,000 to 2 lakhs. But there's one record which has a very abnormal salary, maybe a 10 lakh or 20 lakhs. If I ask you to spot that record, it would be really, really difficult for you to do it if you don't have any visualization tool. You have to scroll through each and every row. But if you just pull that Excel sheet into Power BI, generate a bar chart, you will immediately see that one line, which is really, really tall, and you can easily figure out what that row is. So just to give you a basic understanding, Power BI, it can help you to easily visualize the data and do a lot of data fixing. Okay, and it also is used to visualize the end results that are generated by machine learning models. So these are the foundational skills that you need before you start building machine learning models. You should be good in Python, EDA and statistics, SQL, and Power BI. And we cover these modules in depth first. And once we have these foundational skills, then we get started with building machine learning models. And again, when you build machine learning models, there are different types of models that you can build. You can build a supervised machine learning models. And again, in supervised, you have classification and regression models. We'll be covering all of that in these 3 modules. And we would also be building few advanced ML algorithms as well. And after that, we do the unsupervised as well. Now, what exactly machine learning is, what models are available, what is the difference between supervised and unsupervised? We'll cover it in detail in tomorrow's session. So we start off with foundational skills, then we cover the machine learning models. And once the models are built, trained, ready to be deployed, we go ahead and see how to deploy them to one of the cloud product. Now, this is all the statistical machine learning. And these models work really well if it is a structured data. But they often fail if you ask these machine learning models to work with images or videos, they are bound to fail. And that is exactly where deep learning comes into picture. Remember 2 applications that we discussed about deep learning, computer vision and NLP. So these are the 2 topics that we're going to cover in deep learning in detail. And once we're done with the deep learning, we would go on and talk about generative AI, the ChatGPT that we have just seen. And we would be covering LangChain. It's a Python framework that you can use to build LLMs. So this is a revolutionary thing that has happened in data science in the last 2 years. So we'll be covering that in quite detail. And for these 15 modules, guys, we would be doing a real-time project after each and every module so that you understand how it works. And another important point that I want to highlight is we would be, I mean, all the sessions that we're going to do would be completely hands-on sessions. And not from tomorrow, from day after tomorrow, I would request everyone to bring the laptops or join the sessions. If you're joining online, join the sessions from laptop and be prepared to do a hands-on alongside me. Say, for example, when we start off with Python from Friday, I will show you the installation part, how to install Python. I'll show you how to do it in the initial 10 minutes. Then I'll ask one of you to share your screen, do it simultaneously. So that's our approach that we're going to follow for each of the modules. It's like I'll explain a concept, show you how to do it for the 10-15 minutes in a session. I'll take a pause, wait for you to complete until the point that I have done, and then we'll proceed further. So the reason why we do it this way is all of you are quite busy. I understand most of you are working and you don't have time to practice after the session. If you just attend a session, watch it like a movie, move on, you won't be able to master it, guys. You might get a high level understanding, but for you to master the data science skills, practice is really, really important. And that's why we're going to do this hands on approach. 15 minutes, I'm going to show you a concept, show you how to do it in the application or how to do it in the session, and I would wait for you to follow it. That's the approach that we will follow. And apart from those technical modules, we would also be covering non-technical, or we'll also be conducting non-technical training sessions, especially if you are a fresher. Please make the best use of these training sessions. These are intended to improve your communication, verbal, and analytical skills if required. If you're really good at it, you can ignore them. But if somebody needs help, we'll be there to assist you. And so it would roughly take around 3.5 to 4 months for us to complete the course. And you would need at least 2 months to prepare for the job interviews, because for you to absorb all these modules, content, revise it, practice it, right? It would take at least 2 months more. And to cover for this 6 months time, starting from December till next May, we would be giving you an internship certificate saying that so and so person has done a data science internship with us. And you would be showing that internship certificate when you start applying for job interviews. And when you might say, boss, I don't have any experience. I'm a fresher. I don't know how to prepare a crisp job profile in LinkedIn or Naukri. Will your team help? Don't worry. We have a career services team. They would prepare a crisp job profiles for you in LinkedIn and Naukri. And they would also factor in, if you're already working, we're not going to replace all your experience and show it as experience in data science. That would definitely be not the recommended approach. But at least maybe 1 or 2 years of your prior experience, try to show it as experience in data science. And our team will help you to prepare such crisp job profiles. We share a list of interview questions. I'll personally conduct a mock interview and give you a feedback. And we give you internship certificate. And we do share, a lot of times we get requests from our companies asking for data science job openings. They send in a request, say, I have a data scientist, a job opening with 1 to 2 years of experience, and these are the skills that I need. They might say SQL, Power BI, ML, basically main things. So, and one important point, not every data scientist job would have or would require all these modules, guys. Yes, if you probably later in the day when you look at a couple of data science job openings, some skills you see in common, like Python, SQL, Power BI, and maybe one of these machine learning models you might be asked. Okay, so we would prepare you for those job openings and will help you how to prepare for the interview and clear it as well. And before I open up a session for questions, it is supposed to be a 1.5 hour session, but the initial 2 sessions, we will not overload you. The first 2 sessions would be 1 hour long, but from Friday, it's going to be 1.5 hour long. Okay. And it's going to be Monday to Friday, 8 to 9:30 p.m. IST batch, 1.5 hour session, and batch goes on for roughly 3 to 4 months. And in tomorrow's session, I'll be focusing on, you see these 15 modules, you just know the names today. Tomorrow, I'm going to spend 10 minutes on each topic. I'm going to spend 10 minutes on Python, show you how easy it is to write a code in Python. I'll show you what is EDA. We'll also do some coding there. So I just want to give you a kind of a preview into what each of these module is all about so that you understand what you're getting into. Okay. And from Friday, we'll get started with the installation of Python and we'll get into the coding part. Any questions from anyone, guys? I'll take the questions online first and then I'll take the questions from classroom. Any questions from online participants? Please note that you are on mute. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, ask the question, and then go back on mute, please. Any questions from anyone, guys?
Yeah, hi, Prashant Sharath here.
Yes, Sharath.
Actually, I'm already working parallelly working. I will attend session, but average, how much time we should spend for practice?
Okay, that's a very good question. How much time do you need to spend to practice on a daily basis? So first of all, you need to spend at least 1.5 hours to attend the session. In the session itself, we will be practicing it. I mean, whatever concepts that I teach, you would be practicing it. And after the session is done, you would have to spend at least 1 hour on an average per day. But on some odd days, if you're not able to practice it, spend few hours additionally over the weekend. 1.5 hour session and 1 hour practice after the session. Because whatever I do in the session, you will be practicing it, completing it with me itself, along with me. But if you want to get some additional practice, or if you want to redo the same thing, you spend 1 more hour. Okay, roughly 2.5 hours per day, including the course, what do you call the live session duration?
Okay. And another question is, if 7 to 8 years experience, in that if I put 2 to 3 years data scientist experience, in India, how much salaries we can get?
See, the broad salary range for a data scientist is N into 3 to N into 5. Okay, so when I say N into 3 to N into 5, if you probably have 10 years of experience, you can expect a salary range between 30 to 50 lakhs. But again, remember, it depends on a number of other factors as well, like I said earlier, right? So you cannot go to TCS and say, give me 200% hike. Or I hate to call out the name, but it just came out. But it depends on in which company you are attending interview in. And in your case, if you show, if you try to show 3 years of your latest experience in data science, you can safely negotiate on top of your current CTC itself. Okay, so your current CTC is also going to be another very important criteria based on which, or that would decide what is the expected CTC. But the broad market ranges, if you have 10 years of experience or if you have 8 years, 8 into 3 to 8 into 5. 24 to 25 to 40 lakhs per annum is what you can expect.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions, guys, from anyone? Okay, any questions? Any questions from you? Okay, so I have a question from classroom. How many years of experience can you show? So whatever you're going to learn as part of the course, 3 to 4 months of the live training, you can easily show it as 3 to 4 months of experience 3 to 4 years of experience in real time. 3 years is absolutely safe. 2 to 3 years, 3 years are absolutely safe. But if you go beyond that, you can do that if you understand 100% of what I explained. Yes, I would explain it in the simplest possible terms, but also your ability to absorb the content also matters. So, but 3 years is absolutely safe, 2 to 3 years, and that is recommended as well. Definitely yes, but see, you know how the Indian market is, right? So the moment you cross 10 years band, it would be really difficult for you to switch a job. Forget about learning data science. Even if you want to switch a job in your current skill, that itself becomes difficult. The only thing is you should be prepared that yes, your job search might take longer than probably his job search because he's a fresher or he might probably have a couple of years of experience. The only thing that changes is a time. But in your case, you have to show at least last 3 years 3 to 4 years as experience in data science, and you need to pitch your profile that way. But one good thing is, since you have a lot of data science openings coming into market in the last 3 to 4 years, if you go to the market and say that, yes, I was doing ABC job, maybe a Power BI developer or any other role that you did earlier, initial 11 years or 10 years, and then I switched to data science, you can easily say, you have argument to support you. You can say that, yes, I've seen that data scientists are getting paid more. So that's why I switched my profile and changed into data science. So it would be easy for you to convince them as well. But yeah, just be prepared that it could take a bit longer when it comes to job search. Because if you look at the job openings for data scientists, right, most of them say 2 years, 4 years, 6 years. Nobody says 8 years or 10 years. But what you need to apply for us, even if somebody says 3 years or 4 years, you go ahead and apply for it. Okay. But your salary, I'm not sure at what level you are in, that might come into picture, and that might probably determine how easily you get the calls. If you're, so just to take an example, if you're already in, say, 30 plus or 40 lakhs per annum, companies might be, I mean, not everybody would be able to afford it. So these are the factors that come into picture. But yes, you can show off the experience as 3 to 4 years safely. If you attend all the sessions, or if you miss it, no problem. Not every day is going to be same. You might miss some sessions. We record every live session, give you lifetime access to it. So you miss any session, we would upload the recording immediately after this call. You can watch it any number of times you want tomorrow. Practice it one more time and let me know if you have any questions. Okay.
Uh, is it Prasad here training?
It doesn't. Yeah. I mean, when you apply for the jobs or when you switch to data science, I would say initially don't worry too much about the designation. Okay, so whether it says data scientist or senior or data lead, that's okay. You can just go ahead and apply for it and get into it. Any other questions from anyone?
Am I speaking to Prasad here? Training?
Yeah, John. Yes, John. Go on.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is the same Prasad who has trained the OIC?
Yes, I do have a good experience in OIC as well. Yes.
I got trained in OIC from you, sir.
Okay.
And I'm into Oracle ERP for almost 15 years.
Okay.
Now,
Uh-huh.
your advisor, do I need to get into data
You
science or how?
definitely yes. It is very much recommended, and we can probably have an offline discussion, not to
Sure.
confuse others. You can give me a call on this number, on WhatsApp after this call, and we'll have a detailed discussion. I'll be able to give you a right advice.
Sure, Prasad. Yeah. Thank
Okay. Yeah. Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow, same time, same Zoom link, and we can when tomorrow's session, I'm going to give you a preview of each module. Okay. Thanks everyone.